Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 22 of the More Than Muscle podcast. It's me again, Trainer Greg McBride. Let's do it. Today we're going to dive into destinations. We all set goals when we work towards things, and we have these high aspirations to reach a certain point in our lives or reach for certain things. And we're going to call that destinations. I want you to know that the destination doesn't matter. I want us to shift from focusing on destinations to focusing more on just traveling well. That means the process, focusing on how we get to where we want to go. And then understanding that once we get there, that we're not finished. So I'm going to give a few examples, tell a few stories, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about how we can start to push off the destination and focus more on traveling well. So let's think about babies. Everyone has seen a baby. We've all been a baby at some point in time. Babies are these awkwardly proportioned humans. They have tiny little fluffy arms and legs and this torso and this ginormous melon of a head that's too big for their body. So for babies, the most comfortable position for them, their comfort zone, is laying flat on the ground. Think about that. Flat on the ground is where babies are most comfortable, because I wouldn't imagine if we had baby proportions that we'd want to be up and moving around throughout the day. I can only imagine what professional sports would look like if adults had baby proportions. So they like to lay on the ground. Well, that's where they start. Very quickly, they begin to move and try to experience different things. And why? Because their comfort zone is not where the fun's at. That's not where we grow. That's not where we get to experience life. So what do babies start doing? They start trying to roll over. They'll get to their stomach. That's cool. That's not the finishing spot for them, though. Next thing is they start to lift their heads up because they got this big, ginormous dome that they have to balance with their neck. So they got to get their neck strong enough, and they're trying to look around. They get exhausted, and then they back down in their comfort zone. Again, that's not where they stay. So after they get that strength in the neck, sooner or later they can respond to sounds, They can look around and see things, and when they hear something, turn their eyes that way, turn their eyes that way. So they're again moving and getting outside of that comfort zone, being flat on the ground, up into the point where they start to crawl and move and become more mobile. And once these children, these infants become mobile, that's where the fun really starts. This is where we can really find a parallel to our lives and our journeys. So as they start to move and crawl, they're getting stronger. They're building up their coordination just to be able to move through life. Oftentimes what happens, they crawl, then they start to stand and just get their balance. Before they even walk, it's just trying to stay in one spot, and balance is enough effort, enough work, definitely outside the comfort zone. They fall, they get back up, they fall again, and when they fall, just remember this: when you fall, you're back in that comfort zone. So it's very easy to say, hey, I tried, I gave it the best effort I had at the moment, and I'm gonna stay here for a while. But no, they get right back up and they keep continuing over and over and over and over again until they get it all together. One day they're able to walk, they're able to get around, and the balance becomes second nature. Because I know many of us don't even think twice about being able to get up and walk around and be mobile. There are some people that can't do that, but for a large majority of people, it's not even a second thought. Now just imagine if that was your pinnacle, if that was your goal. I can walk now, I'm done. Wouldn't have much in your life to continue to aspire for. And I know that once you reach there, you're like, oh, well, that was great, now what? So that's something else that we want to be able to not have happen to us. When you attain your goal, then it's gone. I remember Christmas time as a kid, there were always so many different things that I wanted, gifts and toys and whatnot. And I'd always tell my parents, hey, I want this, can I get this? I'd be so happy. I'll never ask for anything else if I could just get this. I'm pretty sure you guys all have an example that you could think of, some toy, something that you wanted, maybe a clothing item or something like that you begged your parents for, something you really wanted, or something you even worked for yourself, and you thought, hey, once I get this car, or I have this toy or this tool, I'll be set, I'll be satisfied, I'll be happy. But once you attain it, you achieve it, and you have it, it's like, okay, now I have something else. And it's not as fulfilling as you may have imagined it being before you had it. So we can't, again, rely on the destination to fulfill our joy and our contentment. That's something else about loving the process. You find contentment in everyday tasks. Now, just because you're content doesn't mean you have to relax and you can't be hungry and still want more. You can be content and still want more. I want to make sure that's very clear. Being content doesn't mean you don't have any desires, you don't have any drive. You can still have both, but you need to enjoy it and express gratitude for the things that you have and in the moments, in the areas that you are in your life. That's another way to be a more complete person, because when you're satisfied and you have the attitude of gratitude, I know it's a phrase that's said a lot, but when you have that, you enjoy what you have at the moment, and you can enjoy what you receive, and you won't have a problem saying, I got this and now I can go for more, because you're still finding new things to enjoy and to love about each part of your life. Again, falling in love with the process. So there was a book that I remember reading in school. Probably I was in middle school at the time, and it was called Everest. I think that was the title. I tried to look up the name of the book so I could find the author and kind of get more detail on it. Couldn't find it. Didn't realize how many books were written with the title Everest or something like that. But it was an amazing book, and I fell in love with the book because so many people talk about climbing Mount Everest, and so many people have climbed Mount Everest, but that's not what it was about, and that's not how you're going to find a good book. You can't just say, this happened, the end. That's a lame book. But the journey, the struggles, the obstacles that you have to overcome in life, and like in this book, Everest, that the crew had to overcome, that's what made the story. So when we're talking about the process, that's what it is. It is a story of your life. Being able to say, okay, I did well in the way that I achieved X, Y, and Z versus I achieved this. So it's not just going out and achieving something, but it's about the way that you do it. So we want to resist placing all of our joy and our reward in the things that we attain. Because when you get that and you don't have what you thought it would be, it's very easy to want to shut down. Go back and curl back into that comfort zone and not strive for anything else, because like, I worked so hard and I didn't get what I wanted from this. So don't let yourself fall into that trap, because that's what it is. It's a trap. I want you to travel well, guys. Travel well. And what else does travel well mean? It means that you can move, still carry your value when you're in a different area, when you're in a different realm. So you're not always going to be where you are right now. You may improve. You may even have to take a step laterally to continue to better yourself. But to travel well means that you do it with integrity and with the same effort and intensity that you do in all things. You have to let that carry throughout. You have to have that carryover from one thing to the next, one stage in life to the next stage in life. The way you travel is so much more important than the destination. Don't want to go too far into that one. That's going to get to be really deep and really philosophical. But I just wanted to make sure I got a chance to talk about how important it is to travel well. Put your hope, put your joy in the moments. Live in those moments, and don't push them off to say, once I attain